So I know, like, when I work with people who are less familiar with the medium, usually like the grain touch texture is what a lot of people see as like the biggest aesthetic factor in RISO. And then there's of course the misregistration and you know, just artifacts as a result. Like this one looks like I kept it because it was a misprint, but there's like, you know, stuff, like really interesting stuff you can do with those elements, like with the misregistration, that makes it feel like it came from the RISOgraph instead of coming from like the artist's hand with so much control over it. Like I think the lack of control is actually what makes it so cool to work with.
It's a really tactile way for students to understand printing processes, and it is really similar to processes of screen printing or processes of offset printing, where you have to think about how you color separate, how colors will blend, do you do knockout or overprint, and so we can really show them these concepts in real time using the RISOgraph, and it's such a manageable size and manageable machine, whereas we would not have the infrastructure or the building to house an offset printer. But we can talk to them about how, you know, there has to be a whole mechanism for each color, and that you have to kind of take it out and put it in, and it's helpful for teaching color theory as well, because you can show the students what happens when you overprint pink in yellow and that you get this orange color, and so they can really see color mixing and color theory in that way as well.
My feelings about working as an illustrator these days are just that like so much of it is digital and you have so much control over what you're making, that having to kind of like work with a machine as if it is your horse on the pasture, your cow, you know, it's like kind of this beautiful relationship and this collaboration between the two of you, and it takes some of the control out of your hand, and I find that really relaxing, honestly, because it's less I have to consider as an artist, and instead it's like, instead of me making decisions, it's me like trying to find this like conversation with the machine.
And you see it, like basically like the RISO is just this like perfect sweet spot between like several other forms of printing. So like if you're making like an art object, you want it to look cool, you want it to look different, and like what that really means is you don't want to do like digital printing or like, you know, Xerox or something like that, because like, you know, the CMYK gamut, the colors you can make with just a regular CMYK printer, they're, I don't know, they just, people see them everywhere and they're not like exciting to look at. But the RISO has this like wild palette of inks that are all these different colors, and there's like fluorescent inks. And not only that, but it's like, you could do that with screen printing or something like that, but screen printing, you know, it's a lot of labor, and a lot of like artists, cartoonists, bookmakers, they want to make like, you know, at least 100, if not more, of a thing. And doing a whole 100 copies of like a 4-color screen printed book, you know, that would take weeks. And with a RISO, you can really like knock it out in a day or two, you know?
You get, I mean, I think for me it does come down to like how the RISO kind of takes over at a point. Like there are certain things the RISO is really great at doing, and certain things where like, you know, you can't get like the full spectrum of like 0 to 100% of a single color, so you have to like push contrast in certain areas. But then there's like this element of problem solving of like, how can I add a halftone, or how can I like really like push the contrast between two different colors to like get that color to pop out. And then the result, of course, is kind of like, yeah, the looking at the like the puzzle when it's completed on the ground, you know, where like it comes together into this like really interesting, beautiful image that wouldn't happen if it was done with any other method, because there are so many like very specific elements to risography, I guess.